Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to this episode of Cheap vs. Expensive. Today we're back into the compound game and doing a test that I really wanted to do for a long time. We have M100. This is going to run about the $25 to $27 for this quart. Been a long time favorite of mine, kind of a hidden gem. And then at about roughly $10 to $12 more per quart, we have the M110. And I get these names mixed up constantly, so bear with me. I'll do my best to kind of slow down and actually be talking about M100 when I'm using M100 and actually talking about M110 where I am using 110. Now, M110 is the new release from Meguiar's that got released at SEMA 2018. It's a runnier compound. They said it uses new abrasives. So what I'm trying to find is, where does M110 fit in the Rolodex of Meguiar's heavy cut compounds? So we have M100, M101, M105, and now M110. Very interesting to see where it fits because the products do seem a bit repetitive. So today we're going to take, I really want M110 to be my new favorite. They boast lower dusting, can still handle that. Really, it even says 1200 grit. And honestly, the labels look and read almost identical, so it will be interesting. M100 is blue in color. The viscosity of the product is a lot thicker, so it does gum up the cap when you use it a lot. M100 also only recommends a rotary polisher. However, being a detailer, you probably know as well, we like to use products for off-label uses. Therefore, I know through experience and through demos that M100 can finish out very nice on a DA with the right pad. So on the contrary, M110 says that you can use it with rotary or by hand or even DA. So it actually gives you the option per the label for those of you that like to read labels and follow directions verbatim like I do not. Anyway, what I've done is this panel right behind, or underneath me rather, I've split down the middle and sanded both sides with 1500 grit. Now, a couple reasons why I didn't go down to 1200 grit, even though the label says you can. The first reason being, I don't really see that being a need for a detailer to finish down to 1200 grit sandpaper. Even 1500 grit is kind of pushing the limits, I believe, for a detailer. And also I went to 3 different stores and no one had 1200 grit sandpaper, so I ended up with 1500 grit, and then we're going to put it on a rotary to remove the 1500 grit sanding marks on a wool pad. Then we're going to switch that up and finish down, see how well they finish down with a DA and a soft foam pad. So I want to test the limits of both these products, and then from cutting to finishing to see if we could see any difference, and therefore when you're at the store, when you're trying to make your decision, you can make a more informed decision of what product to go for. So let's get going. All right, so the first order of business is on this right side. I'm going to be using the M110 on a wool pad. I've actually already primed this wool pad and got it going because last time I did this we were linting all over the place. So what I'm looking for, again, I've sanded it with 1500 grit, and what I'm looking for is how is the product, is it spraying all over the place? What is the product doing? How fast is it breaking down? And everything like that. So again, this is a much runnier product than M110, excuse me, M100. And I'm spreading that out. I've sanded just kind of edge to edge. It says you can go up to 1800 RPM on the machine, but I'm actually only going to be probably at 1500 RPM to try to keep the heat low. Flip that out so I can kind of see what I'm doing with the dinosaur. So let me go to, I'm between 15 and 1600 RPM currently, right there. That should be fine. So you can see it's throwing product. It's not dusting, it's just throwing because I put too much product on the pad. So let me clean that up. And so it's not dusting, it's throwing, which there's a difference. Let me bump the speed up to 1800. As you can see, the workability of the product is phenomenal. I'm indoors, it's a colder, rainy day here in Southern California, but the workability of this M110 is amazing. It's not drying out, it's not starting to cake up, it's really not dusting anywhere. So when you kick it up to 1800, it does start to show a little bit of dust, but look at the workability of that. That is phenomenal. And if you keep it at that 15 to 1600 RPM or lower, it's not gonna dust on you. That was actually, I'm glad I did a first look test, and now I'm trying to do a more extensive test. Looks like I missed this area right here. The panel is cool to the touch, which is also extremely cool. Put a little bit of water here on this towel to help get that off, and I think I need to clean up just right along that edge. But the wipe off is relatively easy. It's for a compound. Again, we're not talking about a polish. We're talking about a really heavy cut, aggressive. We're going after 1500 grit sanding marks, a compound. So you my philosophy is you're getting kind of down and dirty on this, so you kind of expect a mess, but there is no mess. If you look over on this side that hasn't been polished out yet, no dusting, a little bit of lint from the towel, but overall not bad at all. I didn't like it as much when we went up to the 1800 RPM from like the 1600. I think that's when it started to dry out a little bit faster, but it also cut it. I just wanted to clean up that edge right there, because it looks like I'd missed a spot, but I didn't count the passes. But that cleaned it up very nice. Obviously there's holograms. Hopefully the scan grip, I have the scan grip overhead right there, so you could see where we at. So you could see kind of right there rather. There's definitely holograms. It definitely cleaned up all the sanding marks. So let me kind of clean up this side a little bit. And I'll switch over to the M100, switch the pads. I had to get a brand new bottle of 100 because my other one caked up on me. So that's obviously, you can clean out the tops if you're worried about that. Rub it in just like I did the 110. I'll start at the 1600 RPM. Again, you're getting the product throw, not dusting yet. You're getting the product throw because I put a little too much on my pad there. Again, great workability of the product, which makes 100 far superior to 105. 105 would already start caking up and dusting and drying out, but you can see I am getting some lint from the pad, but I'm also starting to get a lot of dusting. Not just spray because I used too much. It's starting to dust much faster than the 110 did. Let's get up to 1800 and see what happens. So you can see a lot more dusting, considerably more. I'm going to go back down to the 1600. Work time of 100 though, that's why this is such an underrated product. The work time of 100 is amazing, but the dusting is what gets you. So I would even venture to say maybe better work time than 110. at least in this example. May not be true in every case. 100 is also sun friendly, but you could see on the camera, I'm sure the camera's picking that up, you could see all the dusting from it. So kind of the downside is the dusting. So let me clean that up. I'm gonna hop back over. Let me see one thing real quick. Does one side look more marred than the other? Now I did go pretty hard on 110, but the 110 side actually looks a little bit more marred than the 100 side, slightly. I mean, obviously rotary with wool pad, you're gonna get buffer trails all over the place, but the 110 side looks a little bit worse. Obviously you're not gonna finish out with a rotary on a wool pad. So, okay, let's switch over to the trusty dusty Porter cable. M110, do a few dots here. Let me do less product since we're working a smaller panel. I'll go to speed. All right, that should be good enough there. I'm actually getting more dusting on a DA, which is kind of crazy. As you can see, it completely removed all of the buffer trails and finishes out incredibly nice. Finishes out really, really good. Perfect results. From 1500 to straight rotary to foam to a perfect finish. That's very, very impressive. Let me switch up to a brand new pad and go to 100 to see its finishing capabilities. This is a medium pad, medium finish pad, I guess you could say. So let's flip over to this side. Let me wipe that dust residue. Weird that I would get more dusting on the DA, but that is what it is. You can see I mean, these products are identical. At least in this situation, the biggest factor would be that 110 does not dust on the rotary nearly as much. But when you look at that finish, right there, these and the workability, the length that it, again, a perfect finish. Both of them finished down extremely nice. A lot of depth, a lot of clarity. There's no buffer trails left at all in this whole panel. To me, those products are more similar than they are different. So let's point out a couple differences. M110 is about $10 to $12 more expensive, but it doesn't dust. It is the latest in technology from Meguiar's, at least in their compound technology. It probably will not clog up the cap like M100 does. However, you're going to get nearly identical results. Now, 110 may be harder to get than 100. And that may end up being the trump card for a lot of people, is that 100 is a lot easier to obtain. It's a lot more readily available. You could go down to Harbor Freight, I think, even sells it. However, if you're over the dusting, you don't want dusting, you're trying to control the dust, M110 is definitely going to be your better bet when comparing these two products. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video as much as I enjoyed making it. To be honest, it's something that I've been wanting to do ever since I saw 110 come out at SEMA back in November. early November. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hit the thumbs up, like it, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if you've tried 110. Is 100 kind of your go-to? Are you thinking about switching over? And if this video helped at all, I hope it did. I hope you'll choose to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the next one. See ya.